Welcome to the circle. This month we're going to be remembering September 11th. In light of that, I would like to read the following from Rumi, the great mystic Sufi. The title of this reading is What I See in Your Eyes. Out of myself, but wanting to go beyond that. Wanting what I see in your eyes, not power, but to kiss the ground with the dawn breeze for company, wearing white pilgrim cloth. I have a certain knowing, but now I want sight. Welcome to the circle, everyone. I really haven't planned much for this talk about 9/11 today because I have mixed feelings about it like many of you probably do. It was a tragedy for the United States, for all of those families involved, for all of those people going to work just like they did every day, not expecting the sudden intrusion of their lives that came from people who were fanatical, people whose hearts were so hardened that they didn't care what they had to do, what they felt they had to do. People who were desperate, people who were angry, people who were seeking revenge for actions taken against them or even perceived actions taken against them. But the problem was that they were willing to destroy the innocent with the guilty. Their hearts were so hardened that they couldn't see the truth, and if they did see the truth, they reduced it into foolishness, saying that collateral damage was alright as long as they got the guilty party. And so on that day, people mourned the loss of their loved ones and their families and the whole stability of the country. Some people had ideas, they had hopes that such a tragedy on our soil would help us to identify with the pain and suffering of the world and help us to move forward in order to create a more beautiful and just world. They thought that we might become peaceful people, become negotiators all around the world as we mourned our own loss and led people into a new paradigm, a new way of existing into the world. Of course, as many of you know, that never happened. Instead of taking all of that disappointment and pain and moving to a higher ground, what we did was to move backwards, to respond the same way that we have been responding for the last 2,000 or 3,000 years by just attacking others, seeking revenge, not even knowing who to attack, but just attacking, destroying, and saying that collateral damage was alright as long as we got the victims. In other words, what we did was to become just like our enemies, except with more power and more vehemence. And we have been sliding downhill ever since. All of the pain and all of the suffering, all of the sorrow, all of the grief that we never mourned together as a nation, that we never mourned as various people from all over the world begin to spill out and over us. And it has been doing that for the last 10 years. We find racial divisions, class divisions. We find people who took advantage of that 9/11 catastrophe in order to push forward their own agenda. We find people still wanting to fight in the Civil War, people still trying to make slavery something that takes place in this land, people trying to destroy the New Deal. We find people with so much money that they should not have to deal with anything working to undermine the freedom of others just because they feel like it. Fundamentalists standing up, betraying their own doctrines, all of the things that were in the deep subconscious, the deep selective subconscious shadow of this country are coming to light and no one can deal with it. And so we find ourselves in a place where it seems that those who attacked us have won. Because one of the things that former President George Bush said was that the reason they don't like us is because of our freedom. They want to get rid of our freedom. And I would say now, with all of the wiretapping, with all of the infiltration into non-profit organizations, with the internet being monitored all of the time, with people on security lists and security checks all over the place, Patriot Act 1 and 2 that takes away the rights of human beings to be considered innocent until proven guilty. I would say that we don't have many of those freedoms anymore. We don't have the freedom to assemble anymore without being arrested. We don't even have the freedom now to see our state representatives without signing a list first, or paying to see them, and being thrown out if we disagree with what they say, or arrested. Our freedom is beginning to disappear now, and our great experiment of a country of the people, by the people and for the people, are being slowly dismantled as a class war begins to slowly develop. It is very sad, but it seems that that one blow has destroyed the United States, has destroyed all of the trust in the authority figures, the corporations, has even made some people suspicious that people who wanted to push forward their own agendas may have had part in the attack. This I will not comment on. I really don't need to. You can find many books everywhere, many debates where people argue back and forth, but that is not the important thing. The important thing is where we go from now. For now we are struggling against those who want to run backwards, to hide in holes, to try to take over the whole world because they are afraid that someone may hurt them, or because they just want power over everyone else and all the resources. We are fighting against people like that for what the Constitution, what the core of all religions offered, what the Declaration of Independence offered, even the Gettysburg Address and all of the great writings and great speakers. We want a world of justice, equity, and compassion, and we want it to begin with our own country. Billions of dollars are being spent. Billions of advertising hours are spent telling us that we are worthless, telling us that we should be frightened of the person next door to us, and even frightened of our own thoughts and opinions if they are not passed through the fire of scientists who are working because of federal grants received from large corporations. What can we do? What we can do is have the nerve to begin to connect with those who we consider different. Have the nerve to cross ethnic lines and racial lines and lines of sexual orientation and gender. Begin to talk with those people we have been made afraid of, and when we do this, we will find that we are more similar than different. We will find that we all want the same things, and that we can all have them without destroying anyone else's chance for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This country can be the beloved community. It can be the city on the hill where the divine power of love dwells, the city that draws all others to its shores or invites others to live in a similar way, to live in a way that promotes peace and justice over war and violence, and shared goods over a few people dominating the whole culture. A place that does not believe in capitalism or in socialism, but in taking care of every woman, man, and child. A place that moves beyond ideologies to the rule of love, and living in love, in being the hand of love, reaching out into this dark world and starting to heal it. For we are truly the mothers of God. As we birth new life and beauty and joy into this world, we are the hands of God as we work in this world to chase away the darkness, to chase away the fear, the sociological and racial lies and profiles, so that we arrive at the truth that exists within each and every one of our hearts, that has always been there, but is just buried deeply under all of the nonsense, under all of the false dogma, under all of the false images projected onto us through the media, through the commercials, and through the TVs, and through the books, and all of those things that are owned by only 5 corporations, pushing their dharma, pushing their dogma, pushing their teachings into our minds each and every second, so that we will forget who we are and simply be consumers. It is time to be consumers, yes, and also producers, but what we should be consuming and will be consuming are the thoughts and ideas and feelings and the expressions of love that come from people who are very much like us and who are not very much like us. And we should be producing the beloved community, the rule of love that dwells within our hearts. It's not something out there. It's not something that comes when we defeat everyone who stands against us. No, it is something that exists within our hearts and in the gathering of people who love. Whenever we come together in love and truth and use our powers to create a new world, the world called love. Heaven is made up of the many human beings, plants and animals, many things in the cosmos that come together in order to stand against the forces of death daily and to create life. For life is the answer to death. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for visiting us. Someday soon, you may be able to see us in person as we are working to create a new congregation, a Unitarian Universalist congregation in Chester, PA. Thank you once again.